Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Zigal Talks Football. I'm back again with another video. Today's video is a little bit different. Usually, I don't cover all the other clubs in the top 6 in their own individual video. But today, what I'm going to be doing is I got a bunch of Man United fans, and we're going to be discussing all the hot topics around Man United, mostly about what they rate their season, and of course, should they or should they not let Erik ten Hag leave at the end of the season after winning the FA Cup and of course winning them the League Cup last year. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this video before we get any further. And please do hit that like button. It's absolutely free. You just need to press a thumbs up. It helps the channel out massively. Now, before I introduce the panel, I just want to say I was quite surprised at looking at all the team seasons and everything. But Manchester United finishing 8th in the Premier League is one of their worst seasons in the league. Not getting out of the group stages in the Champions League and having their worst Champions League stage, getting knocked out in the 4th round of the League Cup. The only shining light at the end of the season was that FA Cup win. You got to give it up to them. They did win a trophy at the end of the day, but wow, what a roller coaster ride it's been for Manchester United. I really would say this year for Manchester United, the theater of dreams turned into the theater of nightmares. As majority of the season was a rocky roller coaster. And I just want to know what you guys rate Manchester United season out of 10 in the comment section. And let's get this show started right now. Yes, people. So let me introduce my wonderful panel. First, I got the guys who are going to be on the side of backing Erik ten Hag. You got Monty here, who's a Ten Hag enthusiast. And I think, Rich, are you on the side of backing Ten Hag now?
Well, I'm kind of neutral at the moment. I tend to just like try and see both sides, but to be honest, it's a difficult decision at the moment. I think it's a tough one.
Okay, so I also have Staffy and Kaz who are going to join. I'm just going to message them right now. But before I get started, Monty, how you feeling about United season, man? I was just looking over the stats. 4th round League Cup, knocked out of the Champions League, finishing bottom of the group, 8th in the league. Literally, that FA Cup saved your season.
It hasn't saved our season. And Rich, nice to meet you. I don't think it has saved our season. I feel like it's brought some gloss over what's been a terrible year. And I do believe the FA Cup win is just like a little indicator of how things can be when things are good. But overall, there's been a whole host of problems this year. And obviously, we're going to get right into that, obviously, throughout the show. But you said I'm a Ten Hag enthusiast. I don't like to think I am. I'm just a person that is sick of this disgusting cycle we have at United where we're sacking managers every 2 years. And for me, if we sack Ten Hag, for example, that's 9 managers in 11 years. And the average is over a 2-year span. And as soon as things get a bit difficult, the board are quick to just sack onto the next. And that's not a method that's worked for us traditionally. And I know football has changed to the point where managers are given shorter and shorter times. I remember Staffy saying in the previous show that a manager's average tenure is 18 months. However, I would like to believe at United there's a bit of class, it's a bit different at United where there is tradition, there is that backing of the manager. And obviously when I was at the FA Cup final, I spoke to a lot of United fans and we're just saying he's got 1 year left, let's give him that opportunity and just see how the season goes. So that's kind of my take on it at the moment.
We're going to have to come back to that in a bit when the rest of the guys come, because I think that might spark a little bit of a debate. Rich, what are you saying, man? How you feeling about United season in a whole?
So as a whole, if you look at the whole season, like you said, there's 4 competitions to try and win. I think the overall feeling is that most of the season has been pretty terrible as a Manchester United fan. If I was going to make a highlight reel of like the worst games I've ever watched, I think I'd be going to this season quite heavily in like the 30 years I've been following the club. And it's not against you can look at some games against Manchester City, and if you lose that, you think, okay, they've got a great team. But the humiliation against Crystal Palace, the performances against Bournemouth, I lost track of actually. We got outplayed by Fulham at home. There's a list of like you could name like 10 games against bottom half of the league. And the FA Cup, really, it's like the two good matches I've seen this season where we've really played well, surprisingly against Liverpool and against Manchester City. And like Monty said, at our very best, we can be extremely good. It's consistencies. And I think you can put down to injuries, but I've watched Manchester United play with injuries, and it doesn't matter who's on the pitch. The tactics were so poor. You could have put the best players in the world and asked them to do that job, and it was ridiculous how we set up against Crystal Palace. And yeah, it's nice to finish on the high because I was massively surprised. But I think you've got to look at the issues, and a lot of people are saying that. I know what Monty's saying because I do a lot of surveys to try and kind of gauge opinions, and lots of people are getting the chat of streams. And overwhelmingly, actually, surprisingly, Manchester United fans are in favour of keeping the manager. I was kind of surprised because I've watched, some of the worst football for a long time. But a lot of people are just saying, and for the same reasons Monty gave, is that they don't like the cycle of 6 months, 12 months. Some clubs like Chelsea, they get for a new manager every single season. I think with Manchester United, you want to build a legacy because we don't want to have one good season. We want to actually be competing at the highest level for 5-10 years plus. And I think with that, you tend to want to have a manager for whether we keep Ten Hag another season. If a new manager comes in, you've got to at some point draw a line in the sand and go, look, we're getting a director of football, we're getting infrastructure in place behind the scenes. If we're going to get people making the decisions that are football people rather than businessmen, we need to actually let them make the decisions and appreciate that they know what they're doing. And I think at some point, either we back Ten Hag for next season or the next manager that comes in, we at least give them a few years and don't worry about the league position because you've got to actually build a team. And that doesn't happen in one season or two windows. That takes a little bit longer.
I was just gonna say, everyone in the chat, come on, guys, be nice to my guests. Staffy's been back for hasn't been on the channel in a long time actually, so it's nice to have him back on the channel. Big up Staffy, and everybody's invited to come on the channel. Come on, bro.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? But Staffy, the conversation started, and it always ends up at Ten Hag. But looking back at your season, you could say the Champions League knocked out in the group stages, the league finishing 8th. 4th round in the League Cup. I said to these boys that the FA Cup kind of saved your season, and then they disagreed. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that big up Amuna. Amuna saying Staffy makes me depressed to be a United fan. Imagine after this whole season, the one thing that made you depressed was me. You're telling me in a season like this, I'm the one person that made you depressed. Listen, I can list you 101 reasons why United made me depressed. And this guy, oh my god, here's Vader already. That's another reason to be depressed.
Yeah,
I
mean, the comments, man.
Big up Vader, but yeah. Speaking of
before we get into season ratings, do you agree with that statement? It saved your season, or you think your season was unsavable?
No. Of course, listen, winning a trophy at the end of any season, especially an FA Cup, for the people who don't know the value of the FA Cup is, especially if you're not from England, but if you don't know the value of the FA Cup, you should definitely educate yourself on the history of the FA Cup because the FA Cup was the first ever trophy invented in football. So it's such a historic cup. I know maybe the value diminished in the last 20 years when I hear the older people speak, about back in the day in the 90s and the 80s, how much it was exciting for the FA Cup final day and stuff like that. I hear it. But winning a trophy in general is always a good thing, regardless of how good or how bad your season is, because that's the reason we all go into footballing seasons anyways. We want to win the best trophies. We want to win as many trophies as we can, and whether you win one or you win all 3 or 4, depending on what team you support, whether you're in England or outside, you want to win as many trophies as you can. But I will say that trophies sometimes could paper over cracks. The one trophy that you can probably never say that for is the league, because I feel like ultimately the best team always wins the league. You never really sit here and all right, this person fluked the league. You can't really do that. You can fluke domestic cups and Champions Leagues because you could be the best team on the day, but you're not really the best team in the competition.
Yeah.
But the FA Cup 100% covers for our season. It will not fool me into forgetting that we finished 8th, that we had a -1 goal difference, that we conceded the most goals, I believe, in our Premier League season, something like that. We finished bottom of our group in the Champions League. There's still nothing to look at and be hopeful for next season because we're all expecting a lot of change in terms of personnel and in terms of style of play. There's nothing that we could take out of this season and build on for it for next season, and that's the biggest issue. I feel like if we
Nothing
finish
at
the
all.
league, and I'll tell you why, Igal, because like you lost the league last year, but you knew that you can build on that team and compete again the next season, whether you win it or not. Obviously, that was all in hindsight. We saw that you actually did progress. You still didn't win, but you can argue that you had a better team than last year and you built on it. And it always gives you hope into next season. Obviously, you fell short and didn't win it, so that sucks for you. But I feel like the league is always a better representation to where your team is at. And I feel like all of us here, big up Monty and big up Rich, this is my first time meeting you, but I think we can all sit here and all agree that we don't really have something to build on in terms of the way we played in the league to go and try replicate / improve it into next year. We still have so many question marks that remain unanswered. And that's the worst part about it. The FA Cup was just something for the day for me to celebrate, maybe for the week if you want to be shameless. But it was just back to reality the minute we got over that celebration mode that we were in, if I'm being honest with you.
Fair enough. We have over 152 of you guys watching across all platforms. Do me a favor, hit that like button right now if you're watching on YouTube and follow. But so quickly, guys, getting into just looking into everything you said, if you were to give the season a rating, what would you rate it out of 10? Use whatever scale or metric you want and kind of explain to us why you rated what you rated. But for example, I gave Arsenal, even though we didn't win the league, I gave us a 7 or 8, depending on how you want to view things. We've improved, but we still didn't get over the line. So, like, what would you guys say on your scales? What would you rate this season? 3?
Yeah.
Rich?
That
I was thinking like 3 or 4 because I was going to say Premier League with 0 points, Europe with 0 points. I think the FA Cup was like the only thing where, and even that came down to 2 games, didn't it? 2 games where we had against big teams. So I'd probably say like 3 or 4 for me. Overwhelmingly,
I'm gonna come
like
back to you in a
Staffy
second,
said.
Monty. I just kind of wanted to hear everyone's ratings before we deep dived into why each person's rating was what. Staffy, what about yours? What's your rating?
If I'm being generous, I'm gonna give it a 2, bro. That's
2?
me being generous. I wanted to give it a 1, but
I just wanted to see the scale. You guys are all pretty similar in your ideas of this season. Everyone in the chat, do me a favor, rate Manchester United season out of 10. If I was going to be fair, it would be below average, 100%. You did win a trophy, which makes it good. So overall, I would give it a 4, just because you guys won that FA Cup. If it wasn't an FA Cup win, if it wasn't an FA Cup win, I would say if it wasn't an FA Cup win and you guys finishing 8th, then I would have put it at least a 5. If you guys got Champions League and a trophy, then it would have been 6. That's my logic. So I hear you, but Staffy, I'm surprised. I thought Staffy would have given it a lot worse, knowing how Staffy views.
I was gonna give it a 1 because it's the only thing that's not a 0. You know, that's the first number that's not a 0. But I actually added another one because I gave a 1 for the FA Cup and the other one just because we had Manu basically debut season and he's been the shining light. He's the only thing that I'm looking forward to watching again next year. Everything else is nothing to look forward to. Everything else probably needs to change.
You have the young players.
Wait, don't you think you have a bright future at Man United?
That's probably the highlight, isn't it? The young players coming through the team is probably the highlight. You look at Manu, Garnacho developing as well, and Camberwell played a little bit. People are talking about the under 18s and youth potentially coming through. That's the highlight, and it's always been a Manchester United tradition that young players coming through hopefully are good enough to make it. And I think we've seen this season that 2 of them are good enough. At least Manu is going to be potentially in the team for the next decade.
Big up, Kaz. Just joining us right now. Kaz, you just missed. We spoke about the season, what you rated Man United's season. The boys gave it basically 3s and 2s. I gave it a 4. What are you saying?
Give it a -5, man.
No, seriously. What would you give it if you were to give it a real rating?
I'm pretty sure Monty probably gave it a 7, but let me think. The finishing position was a 1. The FA Cup was a +2. So I would say 3. There you go, 3.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So the next point, just before you joined, the guys were talking about bright future. Do you guys genuinely believe Manchester United have a bright future? And you guys see Ineos and everything. Kind of talk to me. What do you guys think? Forget about this season now. Put it in the back burner. Unless you want to talk about player of the season. Like, are you guys giving out a player of the season award?
I think there's nominees like Dalla, Bruno, Kobe, like these are high performers throughout the season. But as a whole, like Rich said, like Staffy said, it's the youth, the young players coming in, the under 18s being successful. You know, you have, if you look at the players have performed well and we've looked forward to in terms of our matches and stuff. You have the likes of Ahmad, you have Hoyland, you have Kobe, you have Garnacho, you have Kamwala seen a lot of minutes this year. You had Ethan Whitley, who's done very well in the under 18s, got a few opportunities in the first team. Like, there are things on that side that you're looking towards and saying, you know what, like, there is a promising future. Whereas obviously the seniors, it is a little less hopeful because of, you know, the culture that they've come through in the past 10 years and, you know, seeing what they've gone through and things like that. So I would say for me, those young talents, obviously in the second year, Garnacho did well this year after breaking through last year. I'm hoping Kobe does well next year because obviously second year slums, that is a thing for young talents, that second year when teams kind of suss you out a little bit. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Anybody giving the Young Player Award to anyone besides Kobe Mainu? I mean, the Player of the Season award besides Kobe Mainu? Because I would think he would get it for you guys, right?
Yeah, him and Dalot really does stand out too.
I think it's Dallo actually, because
Yeah.
Dallo's been the consistent performer from
Dalot's
start
very
to
Dallas
end.
was the most consistent over the
As-
season.
I-
Like,
you
mainly
saying
since he
young-
came into the team.
No,
Young-
Manchester United's Player of the Season. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, easy to low in it. It's easy.
Really?
Yeah, easily.
Dallas-
He was like from the first game of the season. Mainu's maybe halfway through became a regular.
Yeah,
I think
would say so.
that's why you'd say that. But Mainu is like obviously the best young player that's come through.
All right, fair enough. I don't think there's really much debate there then. Okay, so let's get to the hot topic then. A lot of Manchester United fans now want to keep Erik ten Hag after the FA Cup win. I know Staffy and Kaz's point on this, but do you guys hear people's points on why they want to keep Erik ten Hag, Staffy?
No, I don't hear it because they don't put up good arguments. They just say, "Oh, we can't be chopping and changing. Oh, when are we going to break the cycle? Oh, but there's no one out there that's better." They don't actually give you a good reason to what he could do. It's all about because of previous trauma or something that they fear. It's like these people love being in an abusive relationship, and I cannot beat that. You know what I'm saying? They want to remain in an abusive relationship. I don't want to be in an abusive relationship. I just feel like I see what Ten Hag has done, and I feel like he's failed. Yes, thank you for the FA Cup, but if we're gonna go by that standard, why did we get rid of Louis van Gaal years ago? Louis van Gaal, as much as his football was boring, but at least we saw the football that he was playing, and we thought it was not good enough. Some of these kids that sit here and say, "But he won us 2 cups." Listen, I'm old enough, and some of us here are old enough to remember United actually winning big trophies. We used to win the League Cup and the FA Cup as a complimentary trophy, but our aim every year was to win the league and the Champions League. So we were never that team that just aims to win the FA Cup. We're not that club, bro. We're much bigger than that, and our whole goal is to go back to these standards. So I apologize for not lowering the standards like these people. I'm being as reasonable as I can, but I gotta always remember what the target is and what the goal is, and the goal is to go back to those days and to win these trophies. So when we're finishing 8th, as I said, and all these stuff that I said earlier, negative goal difference and all that stuff, why should I accept that? 2 years and they're making excuses about injuries. Okay, besides the back line being decimated for real, and I do agree with that, but we had enough players throughout the season to see an idea of how you want to play. Whether you executed well or not, that comes down to the quality of the personnel. And I agree with that. With Lissandro will always look better than without Lissandro. And I hear that 100%. I've never disputed that. But there is clubs out there and there's teams out there with less quality than us that have played better football than us. Explain how Glasner went to Crystal Palace and he's playing better football than us. Are we all of a sudden saying that the whole Crystal Palace team is better than ours? No, they're not. Ange did the same thing. Ange went to City and he played with his identity. He had injuries. He had no Romero and Van de Ven, and he said, "Fuck it, I don't care. I'm still playing my way." And he used Davies and Emerson Royale. Are Davies and Emerson Royale as good as Romero and Van de Ven? Of course, no. Of course, they're not. So when he gets those players back, he plays better. But you don't need certain individuals to have a style of play, Igal. And I cannot be going into my third year with a manager that chops it and changes too much and cannot find a way to play football. Whether we win or not, that's not. I'm not even being, bro. You remember, Igal, in the summer, I was one of the few people who said we're not ready to compete. Remember that? So I didn't even hold him
and you
to
got
that
shut down
standard.
for it.
Remember that. But
But Steffi, let me just introduce the guys, because I feel like you're poking holes at a lot of the things they want to say. Let them just maybe
go
say
ahead,
something else that might be. So Monty, I want to know. You heard what Steffi had to say. Do you have any other reasons besides what he was speaking about that you think might be a reason why Ten Hag should stay?
I think it's unfair and it's not really proper when you're comparing managers. I've gone to clubs that there isn't a pressure at that club. They're not United, and that's the truth. United manager is a poison chalice. United as an institution has been failing for the last 10 to 15 years.
Monty, you're already waffling, bro. Because
No,
I just
it's
said
the
I didn't
truth.
expect
It's
us
the
to win the
truth.
league.
It's
So
the-
what
no,
pressure are we
but
talking about?
You go into a team like Spurs, right? You said you use Ange as an example, consistent with that. He's getting stick from Spurs fans for the fact that he's not adapting, the fact that he's persistent on this one way, and the fact that they had a complete capitulation second half of the season. Glasner, when you look at Crystal Palace, what's the expectation? To play neat football, right? Their results isn't the big be-all end-all. United, with Ten Hag tried to play a system the first two games and got absolutely moved to by Brentford and Brighton. Since that day, he said, you know what, the pressure at this club is magnificent, is too grand. And then he changed it and he started to get the results rather than the performances. And then
So my question
this
to
season.
you is,
Talk about
isn't
this
that
season.
concerning? Isn't
No,
that
let him talk
concerning?
about this season again, because he actually did the opposite this season. This season, he actually tried to play his football, and it was not good enough for anyone. So right now, that's against what you said about last year.
Now let's look at the personnel, for example, that he's trying to play this football. I knew Ten Hag before he came to United, as I'm an avid watcher of the Eredivisie, since I have a local club in the Eredivisie final. I've watched Ten Hag for three seasons at a minimum, where he has got the personnel, there's a structure behind him, and the way he's playing completely goes against the players that are currently at Man United. And then people are very quick to say, but look at the transfer windows and the amount of money we spent. 100%. Who the hell facilitated Anthony? Who the hell facilitated players like that? When we was getting linked to Rabiot, was getting linked to Arnautovic. Ten Hag's talent ID has been poor. And that has cost us because, again, we're giving him that responsibility. What man is going to reject the potential of having the power of making key footballing decisions? You need to take that stuff away from him. Let him be the coach and coach this team properly. McTominay and Maguire were on their way out to West Ham for 60 million combined fee, and now they both played high number of appearances this season.
What does he show you as a coach to believe in? Okay, let's go to that. What does he show you as a coach to believe in? Because you said let's let him coach the players. Who has he coached this season to become a better player?
I think Dalot's improved. I think Wan-Bissaka's improved. I think Maguire's performances have been a lot better. I think bringing in players like the academy system in Garnacho and Mainu, he's again someone that's responsible in giving the confidence and the belief and the ability to perform at a stage like United. There are people turn around and say Ten Hag has done fuck all for the amount of time he's been at the club.
Let me introduce Kaz and Rich into this conversation. Kaz, if Ineos says they're gonna back Ten Hag for one more year and they're gonna try to get everything behind the scenes going, like Monty's saying, would you back that?
Yeah, I already said I would. Anyways, I said I'd back the Ineos. Wouldn't back Ten Hag. I'd back the situation, but I wouldn't be impressed.
You wouldn't be impressed. You'd want him to sack him, right?
Yeah, of course I do. He lost, as I said, I think he lost me at 3-0, 3-0 Bournemouth. That was it for me. I'm not saying everything's totally his fault, because I know these players are down tools and they're the way they are, but at the same time, it's the way there's so many different things I can pinpoint. But I just think it's too much of a risk to play him out. Like, I don't get the narrative. I'll play him out for see out his contract. Why? You're just wasting time. Like, you know, life is fast. Life is quick. You know, before you know it, you're probably 50, 60 years old and all that kind of stuff. Why am I going to wait another year? I think it's pathetic. Make a proper decision now and actually stick by it. You either offer him a new contract and back it, because guess what? That's not showing faith if you don't put a contract in front of him. Or you go get a new gaffer. Make the decision. Which one is it? Are you going to start your rebuild with Ten Hag, or are you going to start your rebuild with somebody else?
And that's the one area where I'm disappointed with Ineos, where they could have came out early and addressed it. If you're sacking him, let us know that he's going.
He's
you know
not
what I mean?
their hire, so
Huh?
he's not
That's
their
the thing,
hire.
though, that
Yeah,
they
I
don't
know,
make the
but
decision.
still, the communication, you get mixed signals. As fans, we don't know if we're going to back him for the next season, or we don't know if we're going to get a new manager. And for me, I'm more of the idea of, it's not I'm so Ten Hag in, I want to keep Ten Hag. For me, I don't want the fact that United are going for another period where we're not backing a manager. There's going to be down moments. There's going to be periods where it's going to be very, very bad because of not just the manager, for example, the players, the infrastructure around him, the foundations around him. I just don't want this thing. I want it to be clear, precise, going into the new season. This is the situation, and then we'll get on board with that.
Rich, what are you saying? Do you want him to stay? Do you think it's too toxic at Manchester United? It's probably change is better. What do you think?
It's a difficult one. Like Kaz said, if they decide to back him, then fine. But I think that what they were expecting us to lose against Manchester City and then have an easy decision. I thought they were ready to sack him after that game, but because we won that match, suddenly they're thinking, okay, well, now it's going to look quite bad. Ineos don't want to be the same situation as Van Gaal, when he got sacked after winning the FA Cup. I don't think they wanted that because that looks quite bad. And now they're just thinking, well, I guess well, Monty's worried that if we sack a manager, we're actually going to go back to square one. I don't think that's necessarily the case because I think we'll have better people behind the scenes. So we'll have a director of football. We'll have people that are, from my understanding, is that they're going to ask Ten Hag what positions he wants. He can maybe submit. They're going to then come back with, these are the players. Do you want us to go for those? Ten Hag's not going to be picking the players because we've seen that doesn't work. The players that he's must have had some say in because he's linked to those players in the past. But if I was making the call, it'd be a difficult one. If we'd lost the FA Cup final, you look at it and go, this season has not been progression because we're struggling to beat most of the teams in the league. We're playing poor football for the majority of the season. We actually look a worse team than we did last season. The thing that worries me is the in-game management. I'm watching so many games where we start off quite well and other managers adapt, they change things, and we don't respond. And for me, that's a big concern because I've watched it against most of the teams in the league. They change things. We can't have a plan B. We've got one way of doing some things, and if it doesn't work, it's almost a disaster. I think the formations we've been playing, every time we make substitutions, we seem to get worse. It's only weirdly right at the end of the season. I wonder if there's been some input behind the scenes because we actually look like we're playing a lot more compact. We're actually not doing the same things.
Is this an actual thinking in the United fan base? Let him cook with a full squad, like your squad is always going to stay fit. Do people actually believe this?
Do you think it's a concern though? If one player gets injured, the whole thing falls apart. What are the teams that shouldn't happen, should it? If Martinez is out and he was out for most of the season, our team shouldn't fall apart because he's out. We can't really have a manager that needs every single person fit to be able to play football because we got people we saw on the weekend. Though Varane was a good player, but if Maguire's in there, why does our defense fall apart? Why does our game plan fall apart with one player out?
So Staffy, same question I asked Kaz. If Ineos say they're going to back Ten Hag, they're going to get the structure behind him, he's not going to have control, he's not going to be able to make decisions, he's just going to coach, would you still be okay with it?
No, because I already called out the issues with him as being a coach. I didn't care about everything else. He's just not a good coach, bro. He's not a horrible coach. I think he's better than this, but he's not a good coach. He's not that coach. Like, when I look at our future, bro, and I'm looking to someone to elevate us to that level to compete with City and Arsenal and Liverpool, he's not that guy, bro. He makes way too many mistakes. And Rich just named that his in-game management. There's so many mistakes that he's done throughout the season. People think when Monty says talent ID just doesn't only apply to transfers. Your talent ID can be within the players that you already have. We've seen him so many times misprofile players in his own team, thinking they could do a job that they're not good at. He said in the beginning of the season that Varane is not good enough to play left center back. But then after that, since he brought him back in that last Bayern game before we got knocked out, he played left center back a lot. When he partnered Maguire, he was the left center back. How could you tell me that he can't play there, but you used him there? Same thing as Anthony as an example. He thought Anthony was the good fit for this team, but then he played transition football, and Anthony's not good for transition football. So why would you sign someone who's not good on the transition? Even Rashford, when he cooked last season, he was using him more as an inverted winger. This season, he played him as a touchline winger, which is not what he's good at. So when he stays on the touchline, we've seen how bad his season has been. Højlund, same thing. He's having him play as a target man just because he saw he's like 6'3", 6'4", and he thinks he's a big player that can back into defenders and hold up the ball, which that's not his game. You know, these are just like little examples that I'm giving. There's so many examples that I could give throughout the season.
I've made Manu. That give him credit.
Manu was always going to be a superstar, bro.
Manu was already quality. Do you know what I mean?
You know how much
Yeah,
ratings
he
this
was-
guy
he
got in the
was-
academy? Like, it's
he was-
Miguel,
really good.
who made Saka a good player? Was it Emery or was it Arteta?
I think Saka was naturally progressing, but Arteta made him better.
Okay, so imagine if I sit here and I keep saying Emery's the one who made Saka because Emery was the manager at the time. Saka graduated from the academy.
That would
How
be
disingenuous
crazy.
would that be? Because Saka was always coming up the ranks anyways. You know what I'm saying? It was only a matter when he reaches that age to be introduced. And obviously, I'm going to give Ten Hag some... Actually, I can't even give him credit with the way he used youngsters because he's just overplayed some of the youngsters. Maybe Manu was a little bit better.
That's not a good thing either. The fact that Manu made his debut, Garnacho as well, was like a 20-minute player
Garnacho
last
played
year.
37
They
games
played
in a
like
row.
25 consecutive games, which is crazy for a player that
No,
age.
Garnacho played 37 games in a row. Started
30 plus.
37 games in a row.
He started 37 games this season?
In a row, he got.
Yeah, we've
In a row.
used him a lot, man. We've used him a lot.
What?
Meanwhile, he had Ahmad sitting on the bench. That's what I'm saying, bro. There's
Can I ask you
there's
a
so many
question?
things I could
I
call out.
didn't
It's
really
just a
watch.
coach.
I didn't really watch your Champions League campaign. What happened in the Champions League this year? How did you guys?
Onana, man.
That was
Onana
Onana,
cost us
mate.
Champions
That,
League.
yeah, that
Onana's
was
the biggest one, man.
yeah. He
Was that
cost us
Onana
plenty.
was decent in the Premier League? What happened in
Yeah,
the
but
Champions
it's
League?
Yeah,
that
but he
one.
cost
It's
us
that
Champions
one
League.
in the competition. He would every shot we had against us, it would go in. He would
Fumbling,
The
you know,
Bayern game, we were doing well. We actually started that Bayern game very well. It was our first game of the campaign. And he conceded that silly shot from, I forgot who was it? Sane.
Leroy Sane.
And then the what's it called? The Turkish team, what are they called? Galatasaray.
That's right.
We were actually up 2-1 and we were cruising that game. To be fair, we should have been up more. And then he made that mistake that Casemiro had to get a red card so he could tackle the guy so he doesn't score, and obviously they missed the penalty. So he's throughout that game as well.
There was at
Made
least
two
three
mistakes
high-profile
against
goalkeeping
Galatasaray
errors.
away.
Yeah,
Bro, he
made
cost
two.
us about 12 points if I'm being.
And then Copenhagen as
So
well.
everyone's okay with Onana now, though, right?
Not really.
I'm fine with him.
We're not replacing him yet, but
I'm fine with him personally. I think he command his area. He can command his area quite well. On top of that as well, I'm going to be honest. I need to see him play to his strengths more than this long pinging it long ball up to Højlund or McTominay and hoping he ping and drags it down. I hate
You know what's
that.
very disappointing as well, yeah, is the fact that Højlund's service, he's received the most passes from Onana. And that tells you something for a guy that's meant to get service. And this is like another thing where I do quite like Ten Hag has made mistakes,
guys need to
undeniable
chill.
mistakes. But it doesn't for me. I look at some decisions, I look at some players. There's moments where there's an absolute sitter. You have to pass to Højlund. Garnacho will take the shot. Again, that might be immaturity and again dealing with young players maybe. But I just can't get to the life of me understand why Højlund has been stifled of service this year. If Højlund had the same service that he has, that Núñez has for Liverpool, you see Núñez has like a goal, big chances missed compilation where he's missing sit after sitter. We don't get that with Højlund. He might miss the odd one here or there, but he usually
shouldn't that make you question the coaching then? Because you don't see patterns of attack, and you're wondering why our striker is being starved. We're not being coached well to attack. There's a reason why we're on a negative goal difference, and it's not merely the defense. I actually don't think our defense is that bad. It's our midfield and our front line. When we're not scoring goals, you have to question the manager. Where's the patterns of play? Where's the patterns of attack? I couldn't tell you if you ask any of us here, where's our main threat coming from this season? How do we attack? I couldn't tell you. I don't know where we go. I actually don't know.
Freestyle football again.
Yeah, man. Look, he's tweaked it with Højlund. I'll give him some the way he deployed Højlund in the last few games, especially coming off the bench, goes to show he's pretty bad as an impact. But he's had him doing the what's it called? The channels a little bit more rather than hold up. Like if you're gonna hold up, do it on the channels, not directly in the middle of the field. And I can't lie, Højlund's been cooking from there. Like that's what he was doing for Atalanta as well. The channels, and then sometimes you see him poaching inside the box, making runs. That's it. That's the way you gotta do it. And as a striker, I like that. Don't get me wrong, but this is why you gotta identify your new striker, and it better be Ivan Toney.
Okay, so before I go into some of the players you might want to sell and what some of the players you want to keep, I just want to ask you guys: do you guys have a general idea of who you think the next manager might be for Manchester United? Kaz, I know you already have an idea. We spoke about this.
It's got to be Tuchel, De Zerbi, in it.
Tuchel, De Zerbi. If you had to pick one, who you picking?
De Zerbi.
Staffy, have you thought about this?
Yeah, I thought about it a lot. I don't know. I mean, them two managers are probably better than Ten Hag, anyways. We've seen De Zerbi. How can De Zerbi build up play with Lewis Dunk and Webster? And people were telling me, "Oh, we need Lissandra to build up play." It's just like it's crazy. It's crazy how some people view football. Just it's insane. But
All right.
De Zerbi is 100% a better manager than him. Well, I would say a better coach. I don't know as a manager.
Is
I
De
haven't seen
Zerbi
him
your
in that
number
role.
one choice?
No, he's
Or
not
you-
my number one choice. I actually don't want him, but I'll understand if we get like I'm not
Who
gonna
do
be
you want?
opposed to him. I'm not gonna lie, Gal. I have a lot of pros and cons for every manager, and I've made a decision that whoever the next manager is, I will give him a fair chance, like I did with Ten Hag. I will
Okay.
actually look at what they can bring. I feel like Tuchel's more
So
experienced.
you're
He's
not picking a camp. You don't want to do that. That's what you're
you know
avoiding.
what it is because there's people like look at Liverpool as an example. When Slot was linked with them, some of them were slotting before he came out. I won't be with that with any manager except for what's his name that bumps Southgate. He's the only one that I don't want. And
Okay.
Poch
Yeah,
actually.
Oh,
But other than them two, like every manager, I hear an argument. I heard an argument from McKenna when we were linked with them. I think that's done now. The Zerbi, Tuchel. I do see the pros and cons in any of them. And the one thing that I'll do is like when if they come in, if they decide to go for one of them, I'll be like, all right, I already have my reservations about them. Let me see how they could come in and work under this structure and potentially take that next level. Like, Deserve as an example, he needs that next level in a big club. Tuchel as an example, I feel like he needs to find more consistency when he's in the league. So these are the things that I'll be looking out for. But I won't go out on any of the managers right away. I'm giving them
I don't think
at least
anyone
a
is.
full year.
And I think even the people saying they're going to be Ineos out, they're just trolling. They're not serious. But talk to me, Rich. What are you saying? Who you think the next manager is going to be before we move on to the final topic?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people were talking about De Zerbi and Tuchel, the usual candidates, and I can see positives for either. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever's the next manager of Manchester United, like maybe it'd be a surprise manager that actually does well, and it might be somebody that isn't like an obvious candidate because everyone's. You can look at what people have done at other clubs, but Manchester United, it's different, isn't it? And maybe Ten Hag will just be unlucky that he's at the wrong place at the wrong time because we've been saying a lot of things he's done wrong. I think the players that we had to choose from, having no left back, having limited options, didn't help either. I mean,
Okay,
Tuchel's.
so you don't know who you want as the manager.
No, I'm saying I'm not really spectating too much. I would probably pick De Zerbi on recent form, but I think Tuchel, he's worked under difficult owners in the past. He would probably be a decent choice. But I think whoever we get, even if we have Ten Hag next season, whoever we have in place, I think will do better because the club will be in a better situation in terms of how we run as an operation. So I think whatever happens, we'll have a better season next season.
Yeah, and I know Kaz and some of the boys have to leave in like 15 minutes, so we're gonna jump onto the next segment. But Monty, are you keeping Ten Hag or are you gonna go with De Zerbi, Tuchel, one of those guys?
For me, I'm keeping him till next year. See what he does next year. If it doesn't go well, then I mean, there'll be a new manager, and I'll back that manager. That's it.
What would be your cutoff, Monty? Like, what would you say isn't good enough for you as a fan?
I think for me, it's just I would give him till Christmas personally. I think you don't need that much time for me to kind of realize I think a big narrative is if this season happened if the seasons were reversed, I think less people will be the way they are now than the reactions that we were getting from some fans and maybe social media and stuff like that. I think for me, because he overachieved in his first season, I think that was brought in this season where people are predicting second and title challenge and things like that, and that's not realistic, especially with the squad that we have at the moment, and obviously the backroom changes that we're having at higher levels with the hierarchy and the new owners. So I haven't thought of a new manager. I'm just backing him till Ineos make the decision. I'm more backing Ineos because for the first time since supporting United, we have like a structure. Obviously, I know during Fergie we had David Gill and Ferguson, and football was different back then as well. Those two worked hand in hand with each other. But I think for me, my biggest euphoria is Ineos coming in, hiring football personnel, director of football, CEO, technical director, things like that, where all of a sudden we've got that foundation, and there'll be a teething process for sure. Like, they're not going to come and hit the ground running. The higher ups, they're not going to make there's going to be some mistakes, but for me, I'm just hopefully in the long term we can kind of solidify those foundations really.
All right, and then the final segment, I was just going to ask you guys, how many of your players would you actually get rid of? And I know, Kaz, we spoke about this before. You said get rid of most of them. So it might be more fun to start by saying, how many of your players that are currently in your team this year do you see potentially being starters next season? So Onana potentially will be a starter next season. You guys all agree there, right?
Yeah.
Lissandro will be a starter next season. You guys agree there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he could stay fit, yeah.
Luke Shaw?
No, we're signing a new left back, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen there.
But his fitness.
Rotation?
Yeah. He's a first team starter, but his fitness has taken that away from him, if that makes sense.
So are you making him a rotation piece, or Kaz, you selling him?
Who?
Luke Shaw.
No, if I could, I would sell him. But I don't mind as a left centre back option. He can't be the left back going forward. It's time to move on.
Okay. Varane's already gone. Dalot is starting, no debate. Bruno. Anybody selling Bruno?
Nah.
Surely.
In a heartbeat.
Really?
No.
Right now, I don't give a shit, man. All these players can get it. So yeah, I'm selling. You know what? He's not the first on list. There's too many. You know what it is? There's too many other players.
There's so much rubbish.
Yeah. So probably Bruno probably starts. To be fair, let's be honest. So
club captain.
Yeah, one of the worst captain in Man United history, by the way. But we move.
Is Eriksen going to be at Man United come next season?
Nah, get rid. Bin juice. Bin juice.
I'm not even going to put him on there then.
Put him in sell, bro. Why not?
He's still first.
Staffy, you had a whole video go viral. Man United fans were on your case.
He's no one. He's the number one guy to get sold. Sold this summer. Casemiro should be the first one out the door.
I couldn't see.
My next question is Amrabat. What happens with Amrabat?
I can't lie, man. I'm keeping it. I'm buying him, man. But not under 10 Hag. No way. You don't have to rotate him. I like him, and I think it's just. For his price, I can't argue with it, man. And I think he's there. Like, you can see that if you give him a player run of games, they can adapt.
You starting him?
No.
You'd be rotation. The thing is, we're linked with Yusuf Fofana, who's around the same price.
We need two.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
We don't know if we're gonna keep Amrabat.
Maybe.
The thing is, if we get a Yusuf Fofana and we sign a starter,
undecided. We don't they haven't made their mind up whether they're keeping him. Just put Amrabat in undecided.
I would say likely to leave, but would keep personally. I don't know what Rich thinks, but
I would keep.
I think you'd probably end up leaving. How much is he? Is he 10 million?
He's 15 to 20 million.
10 to 15, I think.
So I thought 10 to 15. I think we paid 10 for the loan this season. I would probably keep him at that price, but he needs to be used how we've seen the last few games. Because I think there's no point keeping him if Ten Hag's going to use him for 3 games a season. It was a bit pointless.
Yeah. Big up everyone in the chat, especially Matt, my boy. I see you. Let's go to Mason Mount. Already looking to sell him? What are we saying?
No,
he's going to be here. We're not selling him when his stocks is on the floor.
Needs more time, undecided.
Yeah, needs more time.
We should have never signed him, but he's not going to get sold. He'll be a rotational player next year.
Next one, Rashford. Could you see him go to an Arsenal, PSG?
It could happen. Would I want it to happen? No.
He's probably going to. He's definitely not.
I think he's going to stay, isn't he? Based on
he's staying. Yeah.
I don't think his wages,
yeah,
his transfer. I don't think you guys will sign him.
Well, I'm interested to see how Rashford plays if there is a possession attacking kind of play of stuff. I'm interested, but at the same time, I'm open for him to leave.
I think under the right manager, he could definitely cook again. Don't forget, he was
one of because against City, it was like the perfect game, isn't it, for Rashford playing on the counter attack? He's the only one with like ridiculous pace in the squad that can do things he does.
Is he? Him and Bruno.
But is he as effective in possession based?
The next one's easy though. Every single one of you guys are probably going to sell Anthony. Am I wrong?
I'll sell him. Bin juice.
Yeah, if we can.
We won't be able to. He's probably
one of the worst signings you guys have ever made.
Of course, the money that he's on.
Yeah, worst signing of all time.
Not just the player, the fee, everything about the entire transfer. stinks.
Rasmus Højlund starts. No
No.
debate.
No. He needs to be a
Rotate.
rotation
But
player.
I would like to see him
Rotation. You're
as
not
a
starting him. Is he too
rotation.
raw? What's wrong with him?
He's not good enough to
I don't-
start, bro. He needs to
I don't
learn
think
his
he's
craft.
good enough to
this
be
year,
a
goals
starter
wise,
for
I
Manchester
think
United.
he's
No,
enough
I think he's
get
a player
wrong.
developing player, but I don't think he should be leading the line week in, week out. I don't think he's at that level.
I agree, but
Okay.
I also
So
think he's
Garnacho, does Garnacho start?
Rotate.
He needs to be rotation too.
Rotate.
When your starters are Højlund and Garnacho, it shows that you're not a good team because they are not quality to be starting yet.
Okay.
Some
Kobe
people rate
Mainoo
them, some people
starting,
don't. But yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
They're good players,
starts.
aren't they? But they shouldn't be He shouldn't be the only striker at United.
I'm just trying to look around. Anybody giving Johnny Evans another year?
Nope.
No.
No.
Even he probably knows he's not getting another year.
He's given us
He's been good,
great
though.
the amount of games he's given us, the stability and the consistency. He's actually been an unsung hero.
Bro, I'm glad he completed his set with United because the only thing that
Yeah.
was missing was apparently an
Yeah.
FA Cup. So he's one of the most decorated United players in history. But now, bro, listen, if they're giving him a role and as a coach or something with the kids, yeah, go ahead, bro.
It's funny because you guys, he wasn't even supposed to be on the team. He just came to get fitness
On
to-
trials,
for the
bro.
club.
In the summer, he came for trial.
Doesn't
Who
that
would
just
have
show how
thought?
little effort we put into signing players? We've literally just looked around our training ground and gone, he'll do. We'll just sign him up.
Bro, we gave him the summer because his wife was working for our media team or something like
Who
that.
the hell is this guy?
Bayindir.
He's actually leaving, so put him in sell.
He's not, apparently it's false. But
Really? Where was he
Yeah.
going again?
he's meant to go
Um,
to Celtic, but
Oh yeah,
he's
Celtic.
he's our second
Brandon.
choice. I don't think
Is
he's
Harry
going.
Maguire leaving?
I miss Sergio Romero so much.
Bro,
He's a-
one of the best
Why
goalkeepers.
why would you sell Bayindir? We didn't even see him even play. We've seen him play that
No,
No, I
one
said
game.
put him in sell because I thought he was leaving.
Undecided, needs more time. What
our
about Harry
second-
Maguire?
No, just put him in rotation. There's nothing we
Just
need to
put
see,
rotation,
bro.
He's our second choice keeper. Just
Yeah,
put
there's
him
nothing
rotation.
that we need to see
Yeah,
about this.
yeah.
Ian is in rotation. What about Harry Maguire?
No, sell him.
Sell for me.
Sell him. Don't
I think
even
it's a
try.
good time to sell Maguire. I think his
Yeah.
stocks are up right now,
Bro,
and we wanted to sell him last summer. I wouldn't be so opposed if we kept him one more year because I do want to sell some players before him. But if we keep him one more year, it's fine. But if we can finally get the 40 million that we asked for last year, which I think is very doable now, I think I'd sell him.
Okay, but
He's had a decent.
quickly, Staffy, because of the year that he's had, and last year that the rumor was 30 million to 40 million. Do we think we can get a bit more than that?
No, because we couldn't get 40 million for him last year. I think we could get it now.
What about
That was the ask
Palestri?
last year.
Is this Palestri?
Yeah, loan.
Yeah, bro.
Loan.
Sell, bro. Don't waste your time. Just sell this guy.
Really?
Sell loan.
Really?
Yeah.
one of the
Do you
two.
agree?
Bro, how many
He's
times do you need to loan someone? He's
If
been here
he
for
was-
about
if he
4
was
years.
Good enough, wouldn't he
Yeah,
have
but there's
got
always-
in the
there's
team
always-
by now? I don't think
Anyone
he's
who
gonna
didn't
make
get
it.
into the United team this year, unless you fell out with Ten Hag, you need to go, bro. 'Cause
Diallo,
this
is he
worse.
a rotation player?
rotation / starter, really.
I think he's gonna leave. I'm not gonna lie to you,
I think if we
Really?
get Elise,
Why?
because
I
he's
would
good enough
think-
to start. But we're going for Elise. And to be
but I don't
fair, he's
think
very
he'll leave-
similar
I
to
don't
Elise.
think he'll
He
leave
should be
because of that.
patient, and he's gonna get games.
Bro,
Who?
patient for what? He's the same age as Elise.
He's gonna
Well,
get
Elise's
games.
got a bit more, man.
Elise is better than him.
He got,
Right
he
now,
got, he did not get,
development-wise.
he did not get minutes this year. Let's be honest. He's not.
Under a new
Maybe
manager, you never know.
If De Zerbi comes in, he'll probably play him, but I don't think. I think he's gonna leave. I don't want to sell him, but I think he'll be.
Who's the
sold.
next one?
The next one's controversial. Sancho.
Sell.
Some fans
Sell.
want him starting next season.
Sell.
Just sell, bro.
Sell, man.
Would he accept
I-
coming back?
I don't want him.
We're getting
to come
Elise,
back.
Igal. We're not
I don't
keeping
want-
him. Sancho.
Hey, Igal, put that to sell, please. I
How long
don't.
has Sancho
Why
been
don't
at
you want
Manchester
him?
United?
Did
I
he
would just-
disrespect your
man.
club or
Move him
something?
on.
Like, what did he
No,
do
for
wrong?
me, he was here before Ten Hag. For me, when you look at Sancho and his time, the money that we paid, the time that he's been at United, he has been absolutely abysmal. And then on top of that, there was even a period last year where he went out of the team to mentally go for a bit, take a break from football, came back, played well for maybe a month and a bit, and then after that just fell off again. For me, his attributes doesn't coincide with a good Premier League winger. You need to
Fair
have that
enough.
speed, and he doesn't have that.
But you want Elise in the same breath.
Let
How
me-
does that make sense?
The next ones are
Elite
easy.
is a lot better
You've
in
already
the Premier
gotten rid of this
League.
guy, so he's not
No,
even there.
No, he's not. You think he is.
Have you already gotten rid of this guy?
He's on loan, but he'll probably get sold or another loan. He's a youngster. I don't know.
Martial is not re-signing his contract, right?
No,
He
he's
already
gone,
left,
he's
bro.
gone.
He already
He's
left.
already left.
He already
Okay. Scott McTominay.
Sell the shit
Sell.
out of that guy.
So
You really
we're
think
gonna
he's the
sell-
worst player you've seen come out of your
Bro,
academy?
put him in sell just, bro.
sell-
Yeah.
Him and
Even though we
Casemiro
was gonna
are
sell him last year.
top 2.
Stocks are high for him as well, man. Let's get rid of
Yeah,
him.
sell him.
I think he would cook at a lot of teams. Put him in West Ham. He does Such's role better than him.
Not anymore. Not anymore. They got Lopetegui. Not anymore. Not
You think
David Moyes.
Lopetegui is playing this guy, bro, who has no attributes on the ball?
He shadows.
All right, what about Wan-Bissaka? He's been good rotation.
Sell.
I think he's going, isn't he?
You can't
Yeah.
sell everybody, can you?
Rotation.
Yeah,
rotation,
you really can. A lot of these are scrubs, so yeah, you really can.
rotation. Come on, I think he's good.
Rotation.
I think you could sell him back to
I like
Crystal Palace tomorrow.
him.
He's
They
gone
would take him.
anyway.
Bro, he's not. Glasner is not taking this guy in his team. Glasner plays football.
anyways. Bro, he's gone. He's gone anyways.
No one. Look at the.
Okay, and then the final 3, I think Van de Beek's already gone, right?
We'll probably terminate that guy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Biggest waste of talent.
Who's next?
Lindelof.
And I sell the shit out of that guy too.
So
You guys want to just clear everybody out.
Yeah, but
I think it's going to be a big clear out, but I think this is like unrealistic to get rid of that many people.
Where's Willie?
No, it's
Campoano?
definitely unrealistic. But we're just saying, like, these guys all need to be for sale.
Like,
That's
I'm
why I
not
said Maguire. I don't mind him for one more year.
I'm not
because
being
need to
funny.
sell
I
other people.
don't see Ahmad in this list. I don't see Willie Campoano in this list. There's Malacia. So who
No,
else is
Ahmed
there?
isn't
Like
that
this?
list.
See, there's 2 extra players that could be in this list. Easy.
Malasia is going to be a rotation.
So Malacia is going to be where?
Put him in
undecided.
rotation.
Well,
he'll be there.
I'll put him in rotation personally.
I think he's good, but he's in
12 million. You're not losing much of him. I'll put him in rotation because I think we need a left back. We're not going to sign 2 left backs.
Okay.
I would
and
put
just
him
looking-
and Mount
and just
actually.
looking on the Manchester United website, I don't see anybody that's. This guy's on loan. You guys keeping Brendan Williams?
Bro,
chance.
we'll probably
He's
sell him.
gone. He's gone.
He's going to sign
Willie
for him.
Caballero?
Kamwala.
Kambala will
Rotation.
keep. Yeah,
I'll
you didn't
keep
put him on this, but we'll keep him.
Who else is there? Who's Daniel Gore? Is he staying?
See,
Yeah, he's good. He'll probably get another loan.
I think he should be in the first team setup. We need 2 DMs. Don't get me wrong, right? If Amrabat's got, I'd be giving this guy a chance. I think he's sick.
He's a
Who's
good player.
this Bukayo Saka look like?
No, get rid of him. He's crap, man.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yo,
yeah,
the
Greenwood.
controversial one
Get rid.
is Greenwood.
He's 100% leaving. Bro.
Yeah,
Rid.
They've already
rid.
confirmed that he's going.
Yeah, get rid of absolutely. He's
So
a
then that's
racist,
it,
man.
really. You don't have anybody else in your. When I
think-
look at your team is
Go
really
back,
like.
go back to the sales. There was a couple players. If this is the team for next season, then the likes of Maguire, the likes of McTominay, the likes of who else are we missing? There was maybe 1 or 2 more where we can't all get rid of them, but obviously
That's why I said I would
Yeah.
sell Maguire only if we get a good offer,
Yeah,
but I
but
don't
at
mind. if
some
we
Yeah,
get
good
a
offer and you get a
within the
replacement.
next
Because I think
year-
with
To be
Maguire,
fair, you guys are clearing house. If your
What-
ownership
what
does
with
this,
Yeah, but
Maguire?
Maguire is not my biggest issue.
If
Like
your
some of these
ownership
players
clears
need
house,
to
like-
go, Igao.
if
You
if the club, okay, just looking outside from the outside looking in, I can't potentially see all of these guys leaving.
no, but
Sancho,
yes.
Imagine
I could see a situation where one of Harry Maguire or Scott McTominay end up staying. I could see a situation where
Lindelof will probably
one of
stay.
Wan-Bissaka or Lindelof end up
I
staying.
wouldn't sell Wan-Bissaka.
I just don't see you guys getting rid of
you
everybody.
can see Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Maguire. You can make arguments because Maguire, McTominay can do a job.
Do you
And if
think
the team's
every
more
single player on
organised,
this
it
list
can-
could be
Egal,
gone?
you see, all those players are in sale. They've either already left, they're out on loan, going to leave, or they're just simply like.
So then it's really just this top row is really the guys you're going to be getting rid of, or is he only
Johnny
on a
Evans
one-year
is
deal?
not
Johnny
getting a
Evans is gone. He's already gone.
Evans is not getting a contract, so just leave him there. You gotta
Okay,
understand
what
some of
about
these people
Pulisic?
on the bottom.
He'll probably get loaned out again.
So this out of this line here, if you were to say hypothetically speaking, 4 out of the 7 go.
McTominay
stay?
has to go, bro. I don't know
McTominay
why you put him back
goes,
there.
Lindelof goes, Sancho goes, and Anthony goes. They're the 4.
So who stays? Wan-Bissaka?
Wan-Bissaka, Maguire.
Wamby's not staying, bro. It's already been said he's going.
Where is he going? Crystal Palace?
Mom, he's linked with over
Serie
in
A.
Italy, but that's just a link.
No, but you guys are good at selling players, aren't you?
No.
Oh?
What?
No.
You've seen us over the last.
You know what our
You've
best
never been a
sell-
No,
selling
because
club.
bro,
Our best
what you got to
sell
realize is I'm
is
comparing
Dante.
it to Arsenal. We get peanuts for our players.
No.
Yeah, bro, we got nothing, bro.
our players will run out their contracts, so they'll be free. So they'll be free agents.
Guys, I know you gotta go, bro.
Or it's literally,
Appreciate it.
they go. Like, it's not great. Dan James is our best seller in how many years? Like,
I say Dan James is the one player we've actually bought and
And made a
sold at
profit
a
on.
profit, a considerable
Yeah.
profit.
Yeah.
If you look at it,
I'm
like, we
comparing
almost
it to
sold
Arsenal.
Lingard.
The best players we've sold is Iwobi and what do you call it? Iwobi.
Okay,
See,
but now hear this though. Hear
Willock
this now, yeah. Right
and-
now,
and-
you see the way Josh Kroenke has the club set up now, yeah. If someone was to get sold from this set of Arsenal players, you're making bank.
Bro, I don't think we make that kind of money for Eddie Nketiah or Emil Smith-Rowe at this point.
Nah, I think you would. I think Emil Smith-Rowe, you can get. That's an academy player, so you'll get 100% off anyways. And then Eddie Nketiah, he's a Premier League level striker.
Listen, guys, I'm a rival. I'm comparing it to Arsenal. I was like,
Cal, you remember Lingard went on loan to West Ham. We tried to sort out a deal. I think they offered so much money. We wanted a bit more. In the end, he left on a free. He just ran his
yeah,
contract
that
out.
was stupid. You should have sold him to
Pogba?
West Ham.
Pogba,
guys-
free. Mata, free.
Guys,
Mata,
we're gonna wrap it
free.
up here, but I'm just gonna ask you a simple question. Expectations for next season, because I had Chelsea fans on here yesterday, and they were expecting Conference League, a domestic cup, and a top 4 finish.
Yeah,
I
but
thought they were crazy.
I thought you were going to say they expected to
they
qualify
don't
for the
win
Conference League.
That would be the biggest
They were expecting 2 trophies and a Champions League finish. What are you guys expecting next season? A trophy and a Champions League finish minimum? Staffy?
The cup, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really.
How can I expect any when I don't know who my manager is gonna be?
No, but just
It's
as
way
a
too-
club expectation. Forget about the manager. As a
My
fan,
expectations
that-
every
that-
year have
that
been
determines that.
minimum. My expectations every year have always been a minimum of a top 4 finish. You know, and that's not saying I want that. I'm just saying that's my expectations. But we've dropped off massively, bro. I can't set any realistic expectations until I see the manager and who we get rid of and who we sign. I don't know. It's way too early. Maybe at the end of the summer, we could do another show where we talk about it. I really couldn't tell where we're gonna be.
I think domestic cups. That's the barometer at the moment. in terms
Yeah,
of-
so you can keep him for one more year. Yeah, I hear you.
I think league-wise, though, you've got to have the Champions top 4
Okay,
as a
I
minimum.
was more or less asking league finish. Do you guys think you guys could push for top 4 next season, or is that too far
We
away?
should do.
Yeah, if we get rid of Ten Hag, yeah.
City, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Nah,
I think
if we keep
against
Ten Hag,
Chelsea
then
and Spurs, we should be competitive.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you're
I'll be
looking-
disappointed if we don't get top
You're
4.
looking for 4th or 5th in the league next season, and maybe a cup at best. That's it, right?
If 5th would still feel disappointing, I think.
Hey, I got
Fifth
Spurs.
get
I got a Spurs show next. Their expectations are top 4 and a trophy every year, but they don't get one. So it's like you
When did
get
when did they last get a trophy?
2008. But yeah, Staffy, you got a show later on.
Yeah, I do. Probably like 11 p.m.
11 p.m. I'll redirect you because I'm going live at 10. Let everyone know.
Bro, after this chat I saw today, no thanks, bro. I
No
don't need it.
thanks?
I don't need any of these guys here, bro. None of them, bro. Have you not watched the chat though? Nah, bro. I'm good off these guys.
You got
I'm
personal
sorry. I'm
stalker
sorry
in the
about
chat,
that,
though.
bro. Rich, you got anything coming up?
I'm going to do something after the Champions League finals. I'm just taking a few days off after a busy finish to the season, but I'll restart then.
Okay, and Monty, when you gonna do content, bro? It's been like 2 years since you did a video.
I know. But I've been caught.
He's waiting for Ten Hag to be good, bro. So you can see like, oh, I told you so.
I didn't even do that type of
waiting for it.
content. I didn't even do that type of.
No, he does like Somali stuff and like talking about random.
And also, when I was in the States, I was doing content when I was living out there. So, but
He's
now
like
Where'd you live in the States?
Proper old school YouTuber,
Man,
vlogging
Cleveland.
and talking about life.
Where'd you live in the States?
Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then it was always a drive up to drive across to Columbus where I was always at. But nah, man, holiday football season's done. I'm in a club. I work for a football club anyway, so it's just recruitment and just trying to make sure we're ready for our first FA Cup game in August. So
There you go. Big up everyone in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Staffy, Rich, Monty, of course, Kaz. Big up and thank you for joining me for my first like Manchester United show on the channel. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully, Staffy, if you need me, you already know. Monty, I'll catch you on the next one. And Rich, catch you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.